Hey everyone, it's Wyatt. Just wanted to send out some love to everyone as they're navigating this world we're living in right now. And this is a chance for us all to connect via technology on our YouTube channel at the Yoga Practice. So I'm here to offer you a brief, gentle practice for your week. Before I get into that, I wanted to just kind of show you all what I'm doing with the unexpected extra downtime we have in this world right now. I'm working from home like a lot of people might be, so when I'm done with my work from home, I am going to a few things in the wake of this world. So I wanted to share those with you just so we have a sense of connection, and I'd love to hear from you all what you're doing to keep yourself grounded. The first thing I'm reading right now is called Threads of Yoga, and it's by Matthew Remski, if you can see that. He's a yoga thinker and kind of just an overall philosopher, but it's pretty quick read. It's short, but it has a lot of good information there, making yoga accessible to all. Next thing I'm reading is Patti Smith's autobiography. If you're a music and artist fan, she's a good read. Very interesting woman. And then I'm really into cooking in general, but I love to see pictures of food, so I've been reading Bon Appetit's new issue, and I always read their issue as it comes out. I subscribe pretty loyally to them. So I hope you're all having a good day. Without any further ado, let's get started. This will be about a 40-minute practice today. And we'll start today by getting into child's pose. So as you see me moving around a little bit, it's a little bit different than being in a class, but I will be demonstrating all of the postures today. So find your way to your space, your mat. I'll try to be as projected as possible so you can hear me. And find your way to your expression of child's pose. And for your version of child's pose today, maybe take a moment just to focus on what parts of the body are making contact with the mat. As you feel ready, maybe make some movements. Maybe for you, you feel like you'd rather bring your knees together, kind of finding more of a little seated position, so reaching the arms back, letting the arms drape against the earth, and maybe resting the forehead. And wherever you find yourself, take a moment to recognize where you're breathing. And if you focus on the breath here and maybe you notice that you're breathing more up into the upper body, see if you can balance out the distribution of breath into the upper body, so the rib cage, chest area, and into the lower belly, abdomen area. And then if you feel open to it today, maybe moving into an Ujjayi breath here. So if you're tuning into this video today and this is your first ever yoga practice, Ujjayi breath is an active breath and it's kind of audible, so I'll demonstrate it here briefly. And from child's pose, it's a little bit new, so if you prefer to sit back into a seated position to practice Ujjayi, feel free to do so. So whether you're in child's pose or your seated position, as you take your next breath, maybe just allow the eyes to rest to a gentle close, and then inhale through the nose. And as you inhale, see if you can bring the breath into the stomach, then up into the mid-belly, then up into the ribs, really filling up. And then with your exhale, we'll gently constrict the back of the throat and make kind of a hollow sound as we sigh the breath out with the lips closed. And if you're brand new to this breath, again, maybe you're taking a sigh first. So it sounds kind of like this. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling with that active back of the throat. And if you're sighing the breath out, you're inhaling through the nose. And then exhaling through an open mouth. So tap into that breath for 3 more rounds. I know this is a long hold in our child's pose. Child's pose is beneficial for all parts of the lower body. Also allows us to experience the breath in a new way. And if you're in child's pose, I'd invite you to allow the breath to flow into the back. So noticing the inhale as the ribs lift to the sky, stretching between the rib cage, and then maybe exhaling and allowing the belly to go back to a neutral space. Taking one more nice full round of breath here, really filling up, and then grounding down with the exhale. And then as you find your next inhale, we'll just lift the forehead away from the mat, finding our way to a tabletop position. So as you're ready, just feeling the tops of the feet, the shins, the hands pressing into the mat. And maybe take a moment here to find some movements that just feel like things that you need. So yoga is a lot of times about knowing that we have choices in our world and we can move with those choices. So maybe moving back and forth, this is feeling right to me right now. Maybe making some circles, left to right, so we're experiencing all of the different planes of movement here for a moment. And then again, tap into your breath. So whatever movements you're taking, just take a moment to move with breath. Maybe on your inhale, coming upward, making kind of an upward movement energetically. And then with your exhale, grounding down. Feel free to connect to your breath in the way that makes sense to you, so that you're likely at your dwelling right now, so you're probably able to do what you need to without worrying about some of the social, unspoken social things that happen in a studio space. Just take your time to do what you need to do. See if you can move here for a couple more moments at your pace and your time. If you prefer to stay here for the rest of your time, this is where you can stay, absolutely. So no requirement for any movement, it's all your choice. And then from here, maybe we're moving, if you're ready and you'd like to, move on to the next space. Come back to just a still tabletop position. And we'll take a couple rounds of a cat-cow spine. So as you take your inhale, begin to drop your belly to the earth and look up toward the sky. And then maybe press the earth away, lengthening through front body. And then as you exhale, press the earth away, maybe bend into the elbows, really rounding into mid-back, bringing the chin toward the chest if that feels okay to you. And then from here, let's press back to a child's pose on your exhale. And with your inhale, once again, wave forward to that tabletop position as you're ready. And then inhale, finding that long front body for your cow spine. And then exhale, finding your way to cat in the way that makes sense to you, rounding through upper back. Maybe imagining space happening between the shoulder blades, bringing the chin toward the chest, if that feels okay for your upper spine. And then as you exhale, really finishing that breath in a child's pose, rounding, grounding. Let's take one more round here. So inhale, come forward to your expression of tabletop. Extending that breath to maybe a cow And then exhaling and finding your way back to cat as you're ready with your breath and your pace. And then from there, let's press back once you're ready, back to child's pose. Just take a moment to absorb kind of what you've noticed. If you've noticed any changes so far, maybe noticing more expansion in the breath, maybe noticing some more space in the upper body. And then whenever you're ready from here, find your way back to maybe that tabletop position. And this may be kind of your home base. So always feel free to come back here. If you need to pad the wrists with any form of maybe a blanket or a towel, feel free to find that now if you're choosing to find all fours for your home base. And then if you'd like to go somewhere else, from here we'll move into downward facing dog. So let's allow the fingers to fan out nice and wide. Press the earth away gently so you have nice active arms, hands, and shoulders, and then tuck the toes under, and as you inhale, lift the hips to the sky. And as you exhale, maybe begin to press the weight back more toward the heels. And again, if you're new to down dog, if this is your first ever downward facing dog, see if you can go with what feels connected in your body. So a lot of times we find ourselves needing to adjust where our hands and our feet are based on what our body is telling us. So move with what feels accessible to you. Know that there's no perfect expression of a posture. There's safe, connected, grounded, but there's no perfection. So maybe find some movements here, a couple more moments. Really finding your breath in this downward facing dog shape. And then as you find your next inhale, we'll begin to bend the knees gently and lift the heels away from the earth as you're ready and looking forward toward the hands. And then with your exhale, begin to find your way to a forward folding position. So maybe you're coming down to the knees and tucking your toes under and bringing your feet under your base. Or maybe you're bending your knees, looking forward, stepping one foot and the other. But wherever you find yourself, just allow your upper body to rest, kind of draping over your legs. And then see if you can allow the arms to become heavy as well. So it's okay if the shoulders go up toward the ears, because we're focusing here on bringing space into the back heart. Space between the shoulder blades. And then if your head is hanging here and that's a little bit challenging on your neck, you can always bring your hands to cradle your forehead. If you prefer not to touch your face, maybe bringing your gaze just gently forward or bending gently into your knees and letting your upper body become as draped and heavy as possible. From here, we'll find our way to a half lift position. So let's start by bringing our hands to our thighs, front thighs, and then press your thighs and your hands against each other and extend your spine forward. Really expanding through chest. And take an inhale. And then as you exhale, once again, forward fold. Maybe keeping that press of hands and thighs against each other as you fold. And then allowing the hands just to drape whenever you're ready. Let's take that inhale and half lift once again. This time maybe bringing hands to shins if that's okay on your knees, or coming back to thighs. Inhaling, extending, pressing. And then exhaling, forward fold. And then this time we'll inhale, take a bend into your knees to really have that sturdy base. And as you rise with the inhale, come all the way to a standing position and reach the arms upward. And then maybe from here, press into your feet and bring your hips forward for a little bit of a back bend. Looking up to the skies, it's okay for your neck. And then with your exhale, bring your hands together and guide them into heart center for a standing position. Maybe close your eyes for a moment to pause. Maybe allow your hands to rest alongside your body. And if eyes closed is a lot of challenge for your balance, maybe look forward with your eyes open. Notice your feet supporting your base. And with your inhale, once you're ready, reaching your arms back up to the sky, lifting through the heart, maybe pressing the hips forward. And then exhaling and bringing your hands back through heart center. And this time we'll return to a forward fold. So return however you need to get there. There's no rush, no perfect pace, just letting the head rest whenever you find your way there. Take a moment just to distribute the weight to kind of the outer 3 points or pillars of your feet. So outer right toe, outer left toe, inner right toe, inner left toe, and then kind of the space above the heel. And then as you find your next inhale, it's halfway lift once again. And then exhale, forward fold. And from here, we'll plant the hands and walk ourselves back either to hands and knees or to a high plank. So from your high plank, take one full round of breath. If you're on hands and knees, one full round of breath as well. And then as you exhale, we'll lower all the way to the belly. And from our belly, we'll move into a belly down back bend called cobra pose. So bringing the tops of the feet to the mat, those are the toe sides of the feet, flat on the mat. And then hands at push-up position. And then press the tops of the feet into the mat, bring the chin down. Take a deep exhale to start. Send all your air out. And then as you inhale, lift the chest away from the mat, activate your glutes. And see if you can lift a little bit higher. And then as you exhale, come down to your chin. Tuck your toes under. Really press the shoulder blades together as you press the earth away. Back to hands and knees. And maybe return to hands and knees or press yourself up to downward facing dog. And as you inhale, let's bend into the knees once again whenever you're ready. Look forward to your hands. And then find your way to a forward fold again, maybe coming down to knees and walking hands back to feet, or maybe finding yourself stepping one foot up then the other. And then as you're ready, we'll inhale and half lift. This time maybe hands come down to shins or to the ground as you half lift, or maybe back to thighs. Really activating and lengthening through that spine. And then exhale, forward fold whenever you're ready. And when you find your next inhale, bending into your knees again, establishing that firm base as you rise and lift your arms up to the sky as if that feels okay for you. Maybe opening through the heart, pressing the weight up through the earth and then out through the heart. And then as you exhale, bring the hands back through heart center. Maybe return to a stand for a moment. Noticing your heart breathe. The heart beating as you breathe, I should say. Maybe bringing the thumbs kind of to the space on the left side of the rib cage just to notice your heart beating for a moment. And then as you take your next inhale, let's allow the eyes to open if they've closed. Maybe reach the arms up toward the sky. And then exhale, forward fold once again. And as you're ready, we'll inhale and half lift. And then exhale and fold. And once again, walking yourself maybe to that hands and knees position or high plank, and take a full breath. So if you're in high plank, I didn't mention this last time, really press the earth away to where you engage in the space between the shoulder blades. And then imagine you're pressing your heels against the wall behind you. And then from there, imagine you're squeezing something in between your thighs. And then as you're ready, we'll inhale. Exhale, lower down all the way to the belly. Allowing the entire front body to rest. Tops of the feet will come to the mat. Allow enough space between the heels to where your hips feel like they have some mobility. So if feet are together and that feels like you can't lift, Separate your heels as much as you need to. And bring the chin to the mat, hands planted at push-up. Press the tops of the feet into the mat to lift the legs nice and active. And then exhale out through the nose. And as you're ready, inhale, lifting the chest, activating the glutes to the back. So you can maybe lift a little bit higher, maybe floating the ribcage away from the earth. And then exhale forward, folding back to the earth. And pressing yourself up with active shoulders. And inhaling maybe up to down dog or hands and knees. So from here we'll grow a little bit more with some dynamic movement. So from hands and knees or down dog, as you inhale, look forward. And as you exhale, we'll return to a forward folding position. And this time we'll bend into our knees enough to where we can send our weight back to our heels. That nice firm base, enough to where you can feel your glutes and your thighs activating. And as you inhale, we'll find our way to Utkatasana or chair pose. So for chair pose, see if you can allow some space between the heels in this version. And allow some space in your low back too. Not so much tuck, not so much untuck, but see if you can find kind of a neutral space. And from here, as you inhale, rise to a standing position, shift your weight over to your left leg. Really activate through thigh all the way to heel. And then inhale your right leg away from the mat. So our one-legged standing mountain pose. See if you can bend the right knee, kind of lifting the knee up toward the rib cage. And take an inhale. And then as you exhale, we'll bring the arms to the sides, and we'll slowly bring the right knee through and back. So we're meeting in a lower lunge, so allowing the toes to touch down, bend the knee, top of the foot will rest, and maybe inhaling the arms to the sky. And as you exhale, beginning to bring your weight forward. And then as you inhale, press your weight back. And then exhale, dropping your weight forward. Maybe including your arms, so inhaling, reaching back. Exhaling, maybe leaning forward, reaching arms back. Let's do this 2 more times, so inhale, reaching up. And exhale, reaching back. And we'll meet back in that lower lunge, so maybe arms are up toward the sky. Maybe you rest your hands at heart center. And then from here, we'll bring our hands to frame the front foot. So just bringing your hands to the ground. Tuck your right toes under and see if you can lift your right knee away from the mat. And just pause here for a low lunge. Really getting into that right hip flexor. And then from here, start by pressing the left heel into the mat. So really activating left heel, left hamstring, left back glute. And bend into your right knee and we'll rise to a crescent lunge. So if crescent lunge is not where you want to move today, bring the right knee down. Finding your way into your expression of this lunge. So from our crescent lunge, we're moving into warrior 2. So if you're on your knee, bring the right toes to point toward the left side of the room. And if your right toes are tucked under, bring that right heel down, your right heel to the earth, bend into your left knee and bring your arms out to a T. So whether you're on your knee or you're in warrior 1 with the right leg extended, arms come out to a T and bring your gaze over your left fingers. Maybe take a moment to look back to your right arm, just to notice where it is. Taking a moment to connect to this, this active but passive position. So we're really active in lower body, but we're extending, spacious in upper body. Breathing here. from here, as you're ready, we'll bring the left palm toward the sky. And as you inhale, sweep the left fingertips toward the sky. Bring your right hand maybe to right thigh, maybe reaching back for a half bind. Right hand to left thigh. Reverse warrior. And then from here, as you inhale, find your way back to warrior two. Reach your left fingertips forward. Rest your left forearm on the left thigh. Reach the right arm up and forward. One breath here in extended side angle. And then as you inhale, find your way back to warrior two. This time, straighten your left leg. So if you're on your knee, straightening the left leg, toes might come down here. Arms are out to a T, and as you inhale, reach your left fingertips forward, resting your left hand either on the left shin, or if your right toes are tucked under, you're maybe bringing your left fingertips toward the earth, reaching the right arm up toward the sky. For Trikonasana, triangle pose. Let's take one full breath here, breathing into that left side. If your right toes are tucked under, really press that right heel actively into the mat. And then as you exhale, we'll bring the right hand back to the earth. Pivot the right toes back to the earth. If you're on your right knee, tuck the right toes under, press into the ground, into the mat. Bring your left foot back to downward facing dog. Maybe take a moment here to come down to your knees, sitting back, maybe finding child's pose. And maybe take a moment just to recognize right leg. So if you're in, if you're in downward facing dog, maybe holding here, but finding some movements and some breath. Recognizing where you are, recognizing maybe some new observations in one leg or the other. And then from here we'll move back through that same sequence, but from hands and knees or from down dog. So returning there whenever you're ready. And as you're ready, we'll inhale, look forward, and then exhale, find your forward fold, letting the head rest. And this time we're returning back to Utkatasana. So this time bending into the knees, weight goes back toward the heels. Allow some space between the inner arches of the feet. And as you inhale, find your way to Utkatasana, chair pose, fierce pose for some people. 2 breaths. Maybe bending into the knees, sending the weight back toward the heels, to the glutes. And then as you inhale, rise back to a standing position. Maybe resting the arms alongside the body, shifting the weight over to the right leg. So a really active right leg, so we can lift the left knee away from the mat. Take an inhale. And then as we exhale, we're bringing that left leg back. So we're finding our way into that lower lunge. Toes touch down, then the knee. Maybe the arms reach to the sky. And then again, we'll find that dynamic movement from here. So inhale, reach the fingertips toward the sky. Maybe you reach your way back. And then exhale, maybe carrying the arms, reaching down to the earth. And then inhale, reaching up and back. And exhale, sweeping arms down, grounding. 2 more just like this. And then meeting back in your expression of a lunge. Again, maybe hands are at heart center. And then just like we did on the other side, we'll bring the hands to the ground, tuck the left toes under, lift the left knee, pause here. This may be where you stop. Maybe you're back in child's pose, maybe you're sitting on a seated position that's comfortable for you, taking whatever movement you need. And then from here, we'll really press the right heel into the mat. If you're moving to crescent lunge, bend into your left knee and rise, crescent lunge. Maybe arms reach to the sky. Maybe you're on the left knee still. And then from here, we're moving to that warrior two position. So maybe you're pointing your left toes toward the right side of the room, just like we did on the other side, bringing the arms out to a T. Breathing here as you settle into your expression. No expectation, no outcome. Just this moment here. Right, from here we're reversing the warrior. So as you inhale, sweep your right palm toward the sky, reach up and back. Then resting your left hand where it may rest. Reaching the right fingertips up to the sky. Lengthening through the front ribs. Maybe you feel it somewhere else, and that's okay. All right, and then from here, as you inhale, find your way back to warrior two. And we're moving to extended side angle. So inhale, the right fingertips forward. Right forearm down to the right thigh, left arm up and around, and maybe reaching the left fingertips forward. If you find your left shoulder dropping, see for lifting your torso a little bit higher so you can still open the chest. And find length for that left side of the body. And then as you inhale, finding that warrior two position once again, arms out to a T, moving to your expression of Trikonasana. So maybe the right leg goes long and you're down the left knee. Maybe your left heel is down in that warrior two position. Getting your feet set here. And you're finding Trikonasana with the right fingertips down to the right shin. Again, if you're on the knee, hand to right shin. Left arm reaches up to the sky. And if the toes are tucked under, just be sure to really press that left heel actively into the mat. So we're still getting that support of the firm base. And then from here, we'll swing the left hand back to plant. Press it really back to downward facing dog. And as you find your next exhale, find your way to a resting position of your choice. Always feeling free to take the movements that you need in this moment. Tending to the needs that your body is expressing. So maybe that means stopping for a drink of water. Maybe that means deciding to return to what you were doing before this moment. Maybe that means deciding for the remainder of our time together today, you're sitting, or maybe you're choosing to stand. Maybe this is your final resting position, and that's definitely valid. All of that is valid and important. These are the times we really can tap into kind of what it is we truly need, and also what our voice sounds like when we're expressing that need. So sometimes we clearly hear what we need from the get-go, and sometimes we have to put ourselves in a position to where that need becomes more urgent. But regardless, we're learning more about what our needs sound like and how we can be attuned to them. Taking a couple more moments here just to absorb, respond. Once you've found your moment of resting, or maybe you decided that you'd like to stay where you are in this moment, we'll move from here as an option to some seated expansion. So just finding an open but comfortable seated position in Sukhasana. Starting here by allowing the eyes to rest to close if that's something that you're open to, or something that is sounding interesting to you, or something that you'd like to do. So maybe you're resting here with your eyes closed for a moment, noticing your firm base. Maybe you're sitting with your feet crossed, ankles crossed. Maybe you've chosen to extend your legs and find an expression that feels right to you. Maybe you have a wall handy to where you can sit with your entire spine supported against the wall, just resting your head against the wall. And from here, we'll move into some optional, again, seated expansion movements. So starting with the right leg extended, we'll bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. So we're allowing the right leg to be extended out through the hip. And from here, we're moving to open through the left side. So we're reaching our left hand across the body for a position at some part of the right leg. So for some of us, maybe we're reaching up with the left hand, and we're reaching with the left palm for the outside of the right thigh. Or maybe we're reaching for the outside of the right leg, so like the right calf muscle area. Or maybe we're reaching with the left hand. Again, we're bringing the palm side toward the right outer side of the leg. So bringing the palm side maybe out to the right outer edge of the foot. So you may notice here that you are curling a bit into the mid-back, and that's okay. We're really working toward the expression of length through the left side. So if you've taken your clasp, maybe you're reaching as if you'll take a clasp for the outer right thigh. That's all great. But see if we're really activating the right leg so it has a nice press against whatever clasp you have with the left hand. And then from here, so again, we have our palm side, so our thumb is pointing down, our palm side toward the outer right edge of our leg. From here, maybe begin to bend into the left elbow, gently bend without pulling and forcing. And then relax the upper shoulders and allow your head just to curl maybe closer toward the right leg. So again, maybe you're here, it's more of an upper body curl, maybe you're here, mid-leg. But wherever you find yourself, begin to notice that breath again. Maybe noticing the breath, your breath is kind of expanding to the left side of the body here. Taking 3 rounds of breath. Working a little bit into quadratus laborum here. Maybe into the space between the shoulder blades, the erector spinae area. Maybe you feel it a bit in your lats, latissimus dorsi up here, all the way side body. And then from here, just unraveling, so releasing your clasp. So if your right leg is extended directly out in front of you, you can feel free to stay with that position, or you can kind of turn the hand of the clock, the arm of the clock, if you will, a few notches down. So right leg is opening, or you can just stay again with that leg extended and kind of shift your upper torso. So this time we're moving into a side bending expression of Janu Shirshasana. So right leg is extended out to that angle. And from here, maybe if you have a bolster or something to place an inner leg, you can place that there to rest your hand or your right forearm. Maybe you have the space in the left side today to where you can bring your right hand to the inner side of your leg, or maybe your right forearm down. And then from here, begin by looking up toward the sky, if that's all right for your neck. Maybe you're looking down if you're looking for more of a grounding force, as many of us are. And then with your next inhale, begin to lift your left arm to the sky. So you'll notice we're kind of leaning to the right a little bit. And that's kind of what we want, but see if you can keep your left hip down and maybe notice length in the left side. And then from here, see if you can find some length with the inhales. That kind of means reaching your left fingertips toward the sky. And then maybe reaching with your left fingertips up and over toward the right toes. And listen for that first moment where you feel the sensation of length in the space maybe below the lower ribs in toward their left hip. And then breathe from that space, as opposed to going all the way in to the expression that seems maybe more advanced or a deeper expression of the stretch. See if you can just listen for that first sensation and breathe there. And we'll take about 5 rounds of breath. Take some time to really bring length to this side of the body and this part of the body. And maybe you notice that your body offers an invitation to come down to the right forearm after a while. And then if your left arm begins to become a little bit tired, maybe you allow your left elbow just to rest. Still getting that length to the left side. Great opportunity, if it feels okay to you, to close the eyes. Maybe beginning to connect to a mantra, something that you can repeat that will bring comfort or a sense of groundedness. And then as you find your next exhale, we'll begin to fold forward. So walking the hands down and over. And we'll bring the right leg in and the left leg out. So we're bringing ourselves into that expression of that reaching across of the outer edge of the left leg here, just like we did with the other side. So maybe again you're remembering you reached with your left hand for outer right thigh. So this time maybe you're reaching right hand to outer left thigh. Maybe you're reaching for the outer left calf. Maybe you're reaching for outer left foot. And wherever you find yourself, once again, see if you can breathe into the right side, maybe find a little bit of length, activating that left leg. And then exhale, maybe begin to bend the elbow as you fold. Maybe allowing the head just to rest here. You might find by just that action of bringing the chin toward the chest, you get a little bit more of an expression in the space between the shoulder blades. Let's take those 3 full rounds of breath. So in breath and out breath 3 times. Maybe from here releasing that clasp. To our friends who might be in child's pose or a seated position, remembering to breathe. See if you can return back to that breath. Focusing on the in-breath and the out-breath. And if you're here moving into that expression of our side bending Janu Shirshasana expression, again, maybe you're moving the left leg out a bit, or maybe you're just moving the torso so that you can face toward the side a bit. But bringing the left hand to place, maybe on the top of that bolster, that lift, that towel, that couch, whatever you have on the inside of your left leg here, maybe a set of books. And then resting maybe hand or forearm down. And as you're ready, and maybe if it feels like something you're liking to move into, the right arm might reach to the sky. And then maybe as you exhale, you're reaching the right arm up and over toward the left toes. So not necessarily to the left toes, not forcing it necessarily, but allowing your body to be part of that decision-making process. Maybe pausing in that moment where you feel that sensation here in that space in your low back. Again, quadratus lumborum, the source of many of our sitting-related low back pains. This is a great chance to really bring space there. And then again, if you notice that right arm is beginning to say time for a rest, maybe just bend the right elbow and let the right arm begin to rest a bit. Just take 2 more rounds of breath if you need to. And then once you're ready, from there we'll begin to walk the hands forward and bring the left foot back in. So if you're in the seated position with one foot in front of the other, maybe take a moment just to recalibrate. Maybe even switching the foot that's in the front. So if the right foot was in front last time, maybe switching left foot to be in front. But wherever you find yourself from that moment, we're moving into Baddha Konasana. So Baddha Konasana is bound angle or butterfly pose. And in Baddha Konasana in this version, we're sitting upright, so our spine is active, but we're bringing the soles of the feet together. So this depends on where you are in your body in this moment. So we're surprised sometimes when we go through changes, how our body responds so quickly, because our body oftentimes tells the story first. So see for bringing the soles of the feet together, and maybe your feet are farther away from your root, so maybe the heels are farther away from the inside edges of the right and left leg. But maybe you want the heels closer in toward the body. So wherever you find yourself, maybe see for settling into that, maybe rocking side to side a bit, maybe making some circles, noticing as you move that side body a bit that you have maybe some more opportunity. And again, this is all about choice making, opportunity to really tap in a time when choices can be really beneficial and helpful. So maybe you're staying here in this expression of Baddha Konasana. You may notice that I reach for my toes. I always reach for my toes in Baddha Konasana so that I can bring my feet closer together. So maybe you're here and that's enough for you and that's where you'd like to stay. So maybe you're enjoying this kind of upright position. Maybe you'd like to go into more of a low back extension. So see if you can bring the elbows to the fronts of the shins here. So maybe heels are closer, maybe elbows are the fronts of the shins. And then from here, I like to kind of find caterpillar spine. So we're flexing into the spine, letting the chin rest toward the chest. And as we flex in the spine, that gives some length to the back muscles. All of those huge muscles that help us to breathe, they help us to extend our spine, they help us to stay upright, help us to twist. So we're really rounding here and breathing into the back space again. Take about 3 more rounds of breath. Maybe you stay here, and maybe you find your way to more of a neutral seated position, back to Sukhasana, one foot in front of the other, legs extended. But I'd like to offer you also an outer hip opener here, so moving into more of the outer glute, IT band area. So this is our shoelace pose, or Gomukhasana, cow face pose. So we'll start with the right leg over left. And from here we'll bring the right heel, or the right foot, to the outside of the left knee, so kind of the top of the left thigh. So feel free to get there. There's no perfect way of getting there. Just maybe bring your hands to the mat and bring your right heel around. And you'll notice that my right hip lifted as I did that. So maybe that's where you stay, but maybe you don't feel so much of a sensation of stretch in either hip, especially in the right hip. So maybe you decide to kind of adjust your weight using the help of your hands so that your right hip can go down a bit. And so you can sit up with a supported spine. Supported spine does not mean a stick straight, extended spine toward the sky that feels forced. More so it just means a spine where you feel like you have an upper body that's rested and supported. So see if we're bringing that right hip down as much as is accessible to you. There's no perfect expression. But you may notice as well the sensation of change happening in that right hip. So what happens sometimes is that can be a really intense sensation for some of us, so we tend to stop breathing. So as you find this expression, maybe you begin to just allow your breath to come back into your practice. Maybe you're connecting to your breath in a new way. Again, we get a chance to really tap into our needs. Let's take 3 full rounds of breath in this expression. Right, and then from here, as you're ready, bring that your right leg back out and around, and we'll switch sides. So bring the right leg to rest, left heel, outer left foot will come to the outside of the right leg, right knee, thigh, and then again, left hip probably will lift. We live in a time where hips are storing stress, so see for letting your left hip begin to go toward the earth. And maybe you feel something happening in the left hip. Maybe it feels intense, maybe it feels just like a new experience. But again, allowing the eyes to close, checking in with your breath. See if you can count 5 inhales paired with 5 exhales. Take one more full round of breath. Inhale. And then exhale. Allow your left leg to unravel. Maybe you take a moment here to extend your legs just to feel some length into the legs. We worked a bit of our energy in the inner thigh, and then we went back out to outer thigh. And then whenever you're ready, we'll begin to find our way back to an easy seated position. So we'll be here for about 5 minutes or so. So if you know that your back begins to feel a little bit unsafe or unsettled in a seated position without a supporter on the back, feel free to make your way to a seated position with your back against the wall. And again, feet can be where they need to be. So you can have knees bent with feet toward the body. You can have legs extended. And then whenever you're ready, see if we're allowing the eyes to close. And maybe eyes are open. And that's totally amazing. I'm glad you're keeping your eyes open if that's what your body is asking for. And if the eyes are open, see if you can bring them to maybe a focal point on the wall in front of you. Maybe there's not much on the wall in front of you, so you're just noticing the color of the wall. Maybe you're repeating to yourself, this is a gray wall, or this is a green wall, or that's a wall. And then from your seated position, we'll move into a round of pranayama called Nadi Shodhana, and this is a channel clearing breath. If you prefer not to take this breath, of course, always up to you. Maybe you prefer to have a seated experience here with your native breath, the breath that comes to you in this moment. But if you're choosing to move into Nadi Shodhana, we'll start with the right hand. If you prefer your left hand, that's great too. But taking one of your hands, and we'll just fan our fingers out so we can see them. And we'll bring the pointer finger and the middle finger, so the second and third finger in from the thumb. We'll see if we can bring them toward the palm. So maybe they make contact with the palm, maybe they don't. But you'll notice you'll have like the ring finger and pinky and the thumb extended. So those are going to be the three fingers that make contact with our nose. So if you're not open to touching your face right now, totally understand that. If you prefer to practice this using your shirt or something else as a barrier against your hand in the face, totally get that and respect it. So do what you need to do. If you're using your hand or your shirt, what we're basically doing is closing one side of our nostril, closing one of our nostrils, so one side of our nose, breathing in through the other side, and then switching. So I'll demonstrate it here using my hand. So we're bringing in the pointer finger and the middle finger to bend, extending the other three fingers. And then we're using our smaller fingers, so our pointer, our ring and our pinky finger to our left nostril and gently closing the left nostril. And we'll take an inhale through the right nostril. So breathing in with our next breath through the right side as the left side is closed. And then using our right thumb, we'll close our right side of our nose, and exhale through the left side. And with our next inhale, we'll breathe in through our left side of our nose. Close with the two smaller fingers on the left side, exhale through the right side. And then again, inhale through the right side. Close with the right thumb and exhale through the left side. I'm using my right hand, so always feeling free to switch to the other hand or use the left hand instead. See if you can bring yourself through at least 3 rounds of this breath. So a round might be both nostrils or both sides of the nose. Maybe again you're returning back to, after that first round, you're returning back to a native breath. Let's take one more round if you decided to take Nadi Shodhana. And whenever whenever you've finished your round of breath, we'll return back to a seated position. Just take a moment to breathe in and out as you would, without the assistance of your hands or any other type of adjustment to the pranayama, the breath practice. Maybe notice if you're furrowing your brow or your upper forehead. See if you can allow that part of your body to rest and allow your jaw to rest. Allow your shoulders to rest here. You notice them lifting a bit, see if we're just letting them connect to gravity in a neutral way. And then from here we'll move into some space creation in our neck and our shoulder area. So as you're ready, we'll take that inhale, allow your spine to extend, so maybe press into the ground with your sits bones, find a long spine. And then as you exhale, begin to allow your left ear to drop over toward your left shoulder. Maybe begin to drop your chin closer toward your chest. It's getting into our side parts of our neck. We'll find 3 rounds of breath here. Really good chance to sigh the breath out if you prefer to do that. Maybe you're exhaling out with a lion's breath. And then from here, as you're ready, we'll inhale, come back to a neutral spine. So allow the head to stack back over the spine. And then option, if you'd like to bring your right hand and gently rest it in the space above your collarbone. So maybe your 4 fingers, aside from your thumb on your right hand, just maybe gently place them in the top space above your collarbone. And this time as you inhale, find that extended spine. And as you exhale, begin to drop the left ear over toward the left shoulder, maybe adjusting the placement of your fingers, and then dropping, maybe allowing your forehead and your chin to drop toward the earth. And allow the right fingers to gently allow some weight to the collarbone, above the collarbone. Now, if you have any injuries in your acromioclavicular area, like your AC space, if you had a shoulder separation, this may not be something that you're doing right now, and that's okay. This is totally an option just to get closer to that connection space between the neck and the shoulder. So take a moment to take some breaths here. Take one more round of breath. And then as you exhale, just allow the hand to rest away from the collarbone and bring the forehead, chin toward the earth, toward the chest. And then as you inhale, lifting the head back to stack over the spine. And then as you exhale, we'll bring the right ear over toward the right shoulder. So bringing some length to that left side of the neck. And then maybe looking down a bit. So bringing the chin closer toward the chest. And maybe you feel this in the space near the back part of your upper shoulder. Take one more round of breath here. And then once you've found your expression or breath on your next inhale, maybe coming back to a neutral spine, head stacked over spine. And then option if you do on the other side, maybe to take that expression with fingers on the collarbone. So bringing those 4 fingers maybe to that space above the collarbone, finding some length. And then exhaling and bringing the right ear toward the right shoulder. And then maybe looking down again. And allowing that left arm to apply some gentle pressure to the top part of the left collarbone, clavicle. Again, being mindful if you had any surgery, reconstructive surgery on the left side, in your AC joint, or if you have had any collarbone injuries, this may not be something that you're choosing to do. And this is a good chance to really tap into needs, engage in some choice making. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath. And then once you're ready, releasing your fingers, releasing your head back to an upright position. And from here, we'll move into our final resting position. So for this portion of our experience today together, maybe you're sitting in an upright seated position, or maybe you choose to find your way onto your back for final resting. And just so you're aware, during this time I will not be saying any words, but I will be here. So maybe take a moment to set yourself up for a place where you can rest for a few moments, 5 minutes, maybe up to 10 minutes, maybe beyond our time spent here on this video. Maybe you're taking a long rest, which is great. Maybe you have feet planted with knees bent. Maybe you find your legs extended with your arms alongside the body. This is our final resting or Shavasana. So from here, taking some silent moments, and after our time in final resting, you'll hear my voice as we end our time together today. this is the end of your practice today. Maybe begin to make some small movements in your fingers and your toes and your body. Maybe you're coming from legs extended to feet planted. Maybe rocking your hips side to side a bit. If you're seated, maybe you're opening your eyes. If your eyes were closed, maybe you're rocking to one side here. Maybe pressing yourself up. And if you're choosing to stay in your resting, I totally honor that, and I am excited for you that you're doing that. Before we say our final adios for today, before I say goodbye and we wrap up, I wanted to share one phrase, one word of kind of an interesting thought from my friend Matthew Remski that I'm reading right now. He says, awareness is not revealed by the erasure of an obscuring or illusory physicality and consciousness, a lot of words, but rather by the temporary deceleration of the swirling movement. So I think of that as being, it doesn't necessarily mean that we are removing our thoughts when we're pausing, but we are asking our thoughts to slow down for a moment so that we can take care of ourselves. So with that in mind, my hope for you this week and the rest of our time in your yoga practice, or the rest of your time working today or in the next 10 minutes, that you would focus on, first and foremost, the opportunity to make choices and recognize the need to slow down for a moment, knowing that we can't ignore all that's happening, but that we can slow down even for brief moments. Hope that adds some form of comfort to you. I hope that you've been able to experience something new today. And from this moment, I completely stand in amazement at how great you are for taking care of yourself by tuning into this hour or so time to practice yoga. And I hope that you have a great rest of your day. So sending out all my love to you and all love to all beings everywhere. Have an awesome day. See you next time.